Hello and welcome to the NTI Pod Talk. My name is Diane Kaler and I'm Director of Nutrition Therapy Institute. Join me as I talk to interesting people in the field of health and wellness, food and farming, and anywhere else we find conversations that matter to our community. By listening, you'll learn a little about NTI and a lot about the things and people around you that make a difference for your wellness. Welcome and let's get started. Hello there. Welcome back to another edition of the NTI Pod Talk. My name is Diane Kaler. I'm Director of Nutrition Therapy Institute, and today I'm very happy to be welcoming a graduate of our school, Meghan McGee. And Meghan is a graduate of our NFC program, so I'm excited to hear about her journey to NTI and then since NTI. So Meghan, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. Well, so as I mentioned, you are a graduate of our NFC program, and those who are unfamiliar with our abbreviations, NFC stands for Natural Food Chef Program. We have two programs here, our Nutrition Therapist Master Certification Program, which is our nutrition training program, and then our Natural Food Chef Program, our professional chef training program. So now that I have all of those introductions out there, can you tell us about what made you want to become a chef? What made you want to get this training that you got at NTI? Kind of what was your history coming up to that point?
Yeah, it was a journey. I was really active when I was younger. I played three sports in high school, and that kind of piece of health was always a part of my life. And right around, I would say maybe age 15, I started developing like gut issues, acne, inflammation. I couldn't recover, or I wasn't recovering as well as I wanted to. And those health issues really just got worse and worse over time. And I actually did go to college. I went and studied health and wellness promotion for my undergrad. And so health was always interesting to me. I really liked anatomy and physiology in high school. And actually, one of my friends, she was a little bit older than me, but I saw her at a place one time, and she said she was studying to become a dietitian. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. That was kind of the first time I'd ever heard of that being a career. And
Mm-hmm.
so that really sparked like, huh, nutrition could have something to do with like all of the things that I am experiencing because I was
Mm-hmm.
not eating anywhere near like healthy food.
Mm-hmm.
So, or what we consider healthy. And so, yeah, after I graduated from college, I just my health took a really bad like downturn. And so I was always interested in like holistic health. Like I never really wanted to pursue Western medicine to get better. And so I found functional medicine, and I worked with a functional medicine doctor for probably a year and a half. And I mean, they uncovered so many different things. It was really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and that really resonated with me, and just the inflammation and joint pain and all of the things that were going on. And and so in that time, I changed my diet, less inflammation, higher quality foods, just got really interested in like organic and pasture raised meats, and yeah, getting more familiar with that. And over time, it definitely became a little bit restrictive with the dietary changes and making that more long term, I guess. Um, and so the cooking piece was always really hard for me. I didn't grow up cooking, and I didn't feel confident in that. And I remember vividly, my family has like huge Christmas parties, and I felt pretty left out just because I brought my own food. I couldn't really eat a lot of the things that were being served. And yeah, I had my little Tupperware, and it just felt really, and I love my family so much, and it was none of their like wrongdoing, but I think just for me, I felt very isolated, and I was part of a community, but I wasn't. I think
Mm-hmm.
food has such a huge impact on our lives, especially like gatherings of that kind. And so I was like, I could make food like what I make for a lot of people, and everyone can be included and have like a spot at the table. And community was really a big part of like my mission. And I didn't know what exactly that looked like. Um, and then since then, I did like I got a health coaching certification and thought, oh, maybe health coaching would be a piece of that. But um, I found NTI through Google, and it was a little tab on my phone for, I don't know, a couple years. I really
Yeah.
was interested in I feel like a lot of people probably say that.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I've known about NTI for years and
Yep.
finally took the plunge. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was bookmarked. And I was originally interested in the NTM program. I don't know what it was before
Mhm.
that, but I was
Mhm.
interested in that program. And then I saw you offered cooking, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And so I ended up touring NTI when it was down on York Street. And
Mhm.
I think that was like February of 2020. And I live in Colorado. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's in Denver. I'm in Colorado Springs. This is perfect. And then, COVID and all of the things. So I ended up
Mhm.
starting at NTI. I think it ended up being February of 2021. But yeah, a lot of just finding it and, came up on my Google one time and I was like, I have to go here. There's like no
Mhm.
other question. I have to be here. So
Mhm. Well, that's great. That's a great story. Um, so I am curious in your undergrad college degree for, you said, health and wellness um,
promotion.
promotion. Okay.
Yeah,
So you didn't take any kind of nutrition courses as part of, or did you?
I did.
Oh,
Nutrition
you
was my
did.
undergrad, but it
Yeah.
was very much like USDA kind of
Yeah, sure.
nutrition. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right. Very cool. So you went through the NFC program here at our current location. And so I'll give a little sidebar here. Once again, for those who are new or aren't familiar, Nutrition Therapy Institute moved to the location that we are currently in, which is in Arvada, Colorado, um, in 2020. And then so you took the program here at our current location, and um, that might have even been the first class that we did in this location. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. Um, all right. So I always like to hear, like, as you were going through the program, and it's a 15, 16 week program. As you were going through the program, like, did you feel like your goals and your expectations were being fulfilled? Like, what were kind of the thoughts that you were having as you were going through the program, if you can remember? And I know it's really, like, a lot of people are like, oh, it was so busy, I don't even remember anything. But if you have any thoughts about that.
Yeah. I think the time that I was at in my life when I attended the NFC program, so I felt well enough to be able to move to Arvada and kind of pursue like a new adventure for myself. I felt really stuck where I was at. I didn't
Mm.
feel, it's a lot of like wheels spinning for me, not a lot of forward movement. And so I was just like, I am moving to Arvada. I am doing this. It was really actually a lot of really cool things fell into place for me to be able to do that. And so it was a whole new adventure for me. And I knew I've always liked to work with my hands. And so being in the NFC program, I was just like I was almost introduced to myself for the first time, which was really cool.
Interesting. Yeah.
And because I always felt like I had to, sit at a desk and be like, do the 9 to 5 thing. And that I realized wasn't me. And so yeah, the NFC program, I mean, it just lit a spark in me that I honestly think helped was like a huge catalyst for me getting better, just health wise, because
Mm-hmm.
I was fulfilling that purpose that I knew was there. I just didn't know how to express it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, it was very busy and there was a lot of projects and things going on, but for me, it was just an amazing foundation. Like looking back now, I wish, oh my gosh, I wish I could do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it a million times again. But yeah, looking back, the foundation that was built, although it was quick within that 15 weeks, I mean, that went by fast. I learned so much incredible just knowledge about preparing food in the way that can like keeps the nutrients and
Mm-hmm.
just all of the things that we learned. And so, yeah, I have a million great things to say about being in the program, but for me, it really like introduced me to a huge passion of mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how you say that participating in the program introduced you to yourself or brought you to yourself. So many people say after going through this program that it was transformational. And we hear that so often, this was a transformational experience for me. We hear that so often that at the beginning of the program, we tell students, this is a transformational experience, and how each of you are going to, how that is going to show up for each of you is going to be different. But we just it is so consistent, it's such a consistent thing that we hear, that we tell the students that to be prepared for that. And then a lot of times students are like, I don't know about that, but then by the end they're like, you're right, it was a transformational experience. And it's so I love hearing all the stories of people finding themselves, uh, having an even more increased passion for this. They come into it with a passion to want to learn how to cook and, develop that confidence in the kitchen, but it just grows exponentially by being in the program. And I love hearing some of those stories. Do you have any highlights of things that you can remember? Experiences that you had, or specific skills that you took away that are like things that you are, I don't know, so grateful for, or whatever, like it was, still sticks in your mind.
Yeah, so this might be a kind of a segue into what I'm doing now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
one of the biggest things or the things that I remember the most was we each had a day where we led the class. So
Mhm.
we planned the menu, we talked about a specific like body system and food to support that. And I loved that. I loved like planning the menu, figuring out exactly how many ingredients we have, like shopping the pantry, see what we already have. And I think like I'm a big organizational person. I really like that. And so I just loved that. I mean, every single day sitting around the table with like-minded people and eating amazing food, like that was a huge win every
Mhm.
single day, twice a day,
Mhm.
and sharing stories and our lives with those people. Yeah, so that project I loved, and then the very last project, I think it was maybe like a final, but we had 2 hours to make our own meal. And we served it to Tracy and Chef Jackie. And I think just the pride I felt, like I had never done that before prior to the NFC program. And so, like, this is my creation. This is what I made. This is made out of complete love. And I'm serving this to you, and it will nourish your body. Like, I don't know. That's what I got out of that. And that was such a
Mhm.
cool, yeah, experience. And
Mhm.
I'm doing that now in what I'm in my work. So
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Well, you're right. That is a great segue, because I'd love to hear what you're doing now, and kind of how you're using your skills and your passion.
I work at the college I graduated from, the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and I was a contractor for about a year and a half teaching cooking classes there. And then just this last October, I became a lecturer there. I actually just like wrote my own job description and
Lovely.
they were like, yeah, okay, like a kitchen manager kind of person. And so one of my good friends, I've known her for a long time. She is the director there. And so we've just kept in contact. And she's like, hey, you want to teach cooking classes? I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Because I tried like personal chefing and dinner parties, and I did enjoy that. It just, I more wanted to give people the tools
Hmm.
to help them then do that for their community and like just the ripple effect of helping people learn how to cook. And so
Hmm.
I teach cooking classes there, and it's with community, it's with students, faculty, where it's really an open book. Like there's so many opportunities that we could have there, which I'm excited to just help develop that program. And then I also on the side too, I work, well, just for myself, I do one-on-one clients and I go into their homes and teach them how to cook. So just those kind of cooking classes. And then I also work at a functional medicine clinic about 2 days a week. But with them, I do lead grocery store tours. So that's really fun, just like natural
Lovely.
grocers. And
Hmm.
I can just share everything about food and how to prepare it and why we want these certain foods instead of these certain foods. And yeah, so just I've learned that food is my love language. And so I get to share that with people, which really fills me up.
That is great.
Yeah.
Um, what is the degree program that you're teaching at the college? Like what are they taking cooking for their degree program?
So it's more so like one-off classes almost. So
Okay,
I don't have a class. That is a goal to have a
gotcha.
cooking
Yeah.
program kind of class, but it's just, yeah, one-offs, but with like the city of Colorado Springs or Wounded Warriors or
Okay.
um, faculty staff classes. Like we're doing one tonight, we're making sushi, and it's with the College of Education. It's just a community event for them. And so
Hmm.
people can just reach out to us and be like, hey, we want to do a cooking class,
Oh,
like
that's
to
great.
build community. Can you
Hmm.
lead it? And yeah,
Hmm.
it's really cool.
That's great. That's awesome. I always love to hear what people are doing out in the world because, one of our sort of core values that's part of our mission statement is making a difference in the world. And, we are a school, and the primary way in which we make a difference in the world is by having our students helping make changes amongst our students and their knowledge base, the way they think, having these transformational experiences, et cetera. And then they're the ones who actually go out in the world and do all of these amazing things and have all of these amazing impacts on, their family, their friends, in their work environment. And I love hearing those kinds of stories. So that's awesome. Um, so, and you said you got certified as a health coach. So, I imagine you're using those health coaching skills in combination with things that you're doing, maybe particularly with the grocery store shopping stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and particularly at the functional medicine clinic, we do a lot of just coaching around health behavior changes
Mhm.
and things like that. I think how I've kind of turned it in my own business is I'm really interested. I just read We Are What We Eat by Alice Waters, and
Mhm.
that is, oh, I love that book.
Mhm.
But that really helped me kind of niche down almost of what
Mhm.
I'm super interested in, which is slow food and just slowing down your life, connecting to what you're putting on your plate, connecting to the farmers and the animals, and so I think that health coaching piece has come in like I'm all for, hey, Megan, what's a 30-minute meal that's healthy and can help me like, meal prep for the week? And while that's all great and I love sharing that, I also just want to peel back a layer of like what is going on in life that is making that, you know, the food part so rushed and fast. And yes, you're eating healthy, but like, is your body in that space where it can actually digest the food and get the nourishment that it needs and the nutrients? And so, yeah, the health coaching has helped with like figuring out how to help people slow down in their lives. And
Mhm.
then the cooking is like a perfect match for that too.
Yeah.
Like knife skills. You can't really go fast through knife skills. Like that is something that you have to be present for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Good.
cool how I've been able to kind of marry the two.
Yeah. Nice. Good. All right. So, do you want to talk about, um, well, first of all, I want to point out that you are one of our recipe blog writers. So any listeners or viewers who are interested in experiencing some of the lovely recipes that create and write about for us, go to our blog page on our website because you'll see, to the recipe page on our website because you'll see a lot of wonderful recipes that Megan has uh, shared with us and written about. And I have to say that every single time we post one of your recipes, I always make it because I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good. One of my favorite dishes is the chicken piccata that I think
Oh
you
yeah,
wrote about that. Like, I don't know, it's been a while, but it's a
yeah,
mainstay in my house. I love it. I absolutely love it.
me too.
So any talk about classes, workshops that you have coming up, particularly you're doing one for us with us. So that would be great to hear about.
Yeah, so October 17th, this year we're doing a virtual cooking class around the topic of like soups and broth. So I'm really excited to share that with the community. Hopefully it will be, we continue that virtual cooking classes.
Mhm.
Um, but other than that, I have a lot of things in my mind as far as just personal cooking classes and building my business out to reach more
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I have a question for you about virtual cooking classes. I still I have a little bit of a struggle understanding. I mean, we are teaching cooking, virtual cooking classes, but how does that actually work? I mean, I get the basics of it, but it seems for me, because I'm old school, it seems a little bit of a disconnect to do virtual cooking classes. So, how do you actually think about the way you have to show up in a virtual cooking class as an instructor? Because I would imagine you have to kind of formulate some language that is different, perhaps, um, as you are teaching virtually, because you have to actually, be able to describe things much more clearly. Um, the texture that you're looking for, I don't know, the way things look, the color changes, anything like that. Because while in a virtual cooking class, you can definitely take the camera and show what you're doing, there is still, the viewers are still watching it on a screen, and there's a little bit of a block there, potentially. I don't know. So this is where I'm coming from and what I'm thinking about. What kind of things do you have to do to make that virtual cooking class um, be impactful, I guess?
Yeah, it's definitely come a long way from the first time I did a virtual cooking class because of that very reason. Like, how do I explain this in a way that someone cooking at home can obviously understand? And yeah, it's set so first it's really setting participants up for success. So a week in advance, I will send a shopping list, a supply list, and just a little bit more of information of yeah, how to set up your kitchen and just so that they have the basis of so when they get onto that virtual cooking class, they're already set up for success in a way. And then I like to open the floor and get to know each person that's there and ask like a fun question. I don't know, what's your favorite vegetable or something like that. And just so people can feel a little bit more comfortable. And I like to think of it as like a cooking show. Like you're watching a cooking show almost, but you're participating. And so I'll leave room for questions and like, hey, if you think something looks off, like show it to me in the camera and
Mm-hmm.
just doing the best that I can to connect with those people. And I've been on virtual cooking classes where the entire screen was black, like no one had their cameras on. And I encouraged it, and I don't know, I
Mm-hmm.
like it's that's just sometimes what happens on Zoom, and it's okay. And um, so just trying to connect, thinking about the little things that someone might have said in their intro, like I don't know how to use salt properly, and so I'll connect that into the class, like, hey, Diane, you said something about salt. Let's talk about that for a minute. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I feel like building that connection through just me being intentional too, like even in the moment, how do I explain cutting this carrot in the best way possible so that someone in their home kitchen can know exactly what I'm saying? And so over time, my language has developed, and people have asked questions, and I'm like, huh, that's a really good question. And I'm going to do it differently the next time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just building connection, which is funny. I've always been like, I want to sit at a table with people and just be in person
Right.
with people. And
Right.
but I've found that virtual cooking classes actually help me connect with people more because I'm doing the entire recipe with them through the whole entire class versus
Mm-hmm.
my in-person classes, I kind of send them away to their own stations to like I'll
Mm-hmm.
do a demo and but then they'll ultimately create the recipe. And so me going through the whole recipe actually creates a lot of connection too. And I get to share all of that cooking knowledge. So it's yeah, it's an interesting opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
but over
Mm-hmm.
time it's definitely developed my language and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you actually feel more of a connection in certain ways online.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And the other thing that kind of sparked a thought in my head, there is kind of a big difference between a virtual cooking class and watching a cooking show. Because the thing that I always sort of make fun of on cooking shows is, they talk about all this stuff, but then suddenly they're like, and here is what it looks like 2 hours, they're pulling out like different
Yeah.
phases, here is what it looks like 2 hours later. And here's what it, and it's like, well, wait a minute, what actually happened during that time period? What were you do? I always think, what were you doing while that was, during that 2 hour time period? What were you doing? So, uh, I think it's great. It's amazing. So, all right, cool. Well, anything else that you want to mention that I have not asked or haven't thought about asking? No?
I don't think so. Uh-uh.
Okay. All right. Good. Um, I would love for you to tell us about where people can find you. I'm sure you have a website. Are you on social media? How can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on the blog, NTI
That's
blog.
right.
I do
That's
have
right.
my website on there. And then my website is megsnourishedkitchen.com. And then my Instagram is Meg's Nourished Kitchen. And I will say the website and social media I'm not really present on, but it is a way to connect with me. That's something that I'm definitely working on. But I also am working one-on-one with clients just in Colorado Springs right now. I may expand that in the future, but just kind of staying in my community for right now. So
Great. Well, that's fantastic. And yes, you're right. As I mentioned, people can get your contact information if you didn't catch that on our website, on our blog, on our recipe page. Megan's contact information is all there. So thank you so much, Megan, for being here today, taking time out of your day, talking to us and sharing your journey and being a bright spark in my day, because as I said, I always love hearing what people are doing and how people are making a difference in the world. And that brings joy to me to hear those things. So thank you.
yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, Diane Kaler here again. If you found this conversation interesting and haven't already become a student at NTI, check us out at ntischool.com. We hope to see you soon.